All right, here we are with our tiger beetle larva. You saw the hole that... And now the only part of the park that I don't really like, the place where the people are. Oh, and dogs. Dogs. All right, here I am, walking in the park like we did about a week ago. But what's different today is that I brought this thing right here. Technology, new piece of technology. It's called a gimbal, and I'm going to be attaching my camera phone to it. I use an iPhone XS to take all of the video that we watch, and with this new device, I'm hoping that my video when I'm out in nature will be a lot smoother. And so we're going to hook this up here in a moment, show you a couple things about this. It's got a tripod on the bottom of it. These things flare out, makes it so that I could set the whole thing down if I wanted to. And little remote action right there. Move things around, turn it on just by holding this down. Self-balances the phone, and let's see how it works out. So now I've got the gimbal on, and we are walking, I think, the same path we just took. Probably could have done a better job of paying attention to that while I was walking, but holding the gimbal now, and we're gonna see how smooth it is. It's going to take me a while to sort of adjust to how to hold this thing correctly. And here we are, back to the creek. Got some nice zoom functions. Get down there. And it's kind of nice now because actually has a pretty long handle, and I can get around a little bit better, get up a little bit higher. Gotta learn how to tilt it to its side so we can get down next to things and take a close look at them. Really looking forward to using this thing. I think it's going to be a pretty good investment for you guys and this channel. Come down here. All right, now I'm using a function that should track my face no matter what I do with the camera. On the gimbal still. That's a pretty cool feature. That means that I can look for tree roots on the ground like that one and not trip on them while I'm walking. I like that feature a lot. Hello. So at this point, you're probably wondering if this video is just about me walking around in the woods again, talking to you about things you may or may not care about. Well, I can promise you that you can always count on one thing on this channel. There's gonna be bugs. And today what we're going to do is talk about a few different topics. We're gonna wrap up the last contest. I'm going to, later in this video, select the winners for that contest. And then we're gonna talk about a new contest. I'm just having a little bit of fun now. I put the camera on the tripod, got hands free now. It's following me around. I guess that's as far as it's gonna go that way. And I don't know if it will go any further there. Anyway, let's stop right here for a moment. Show you guys my Shapes in Nature Goliath beetle sweatshirt again. For the new contest, in the comments down below, you're going to be answering some questions, and we're going to use a random number picker to pick winners again. First place prize for this new contest this week is going to be a $20 gift certificate to my website. Second place prize is going to be this copy of Invertebrates magazine. Oren's got some information in there about darkling beetles. You can see that freshly molted specimen right there. And then on the back here, in addition to some flower beetles, Porcellio expansus, the Beetlejuice isopods. Don't want to miss that. If you're not a subscriber to the magazine, you might do that. And then third place prize is going to be this shiny, ooh, that's coming out really nice, holographic banded alder borer beetle sticker by the Portland Insectarium. They're just starting up their spring events again right now, here a little bit later in March with their first event of 2020. You might check out their website at pdxinsectarium.org, and they're on Instagram at pdxinsectarium. So those are the prizes for this week's contest. Have a little fun with the camera again here. Oh, that's so cool. Very fun for me, very exciting. Options are always good. So I'm gonna go for a little bit more of a walk here and pick this up. And let's go down here into the sun. So I was just walking past this little bit of moss here. I'm always gravitating towards the sunny patches. I see a couple interesting things in here. Well, first of all, nearly stepped on. People sometimes think these are wormholes, and maybe in some places, some parts of the country they are. But that's actually a tiger beetle burrow, and there's going to be bugs, like I said. I've got a tiger beetle larva to show you. Now at night, you can often come upon these holes here in the ground, pretty good sized as you can see, and you will be able to see the head capsule of the tiger beetle larva. And we'll pop that in here right now. All right, here we are with our tiger beetle larva. You saw the hole that it was in. Not this particular one in that particular hole, but this is another one that I found recently, knowing that I was going to make this video with you. And we are going to move it here very carefully and take a closer look here at the head. Definitely the business end of this animal. So you see that sort of half moon circular portion, and then it almost sort of rounds out in the darker black portions there into a perfect circle between the two of those. And that lines up perfectly with that hole that we just saw on the ground. At nighttime, these beetles will be maybe 4 millimeters, 6 millimeters, something like that, down into the holes, and they'll have their mandibles out and ready. And if some prey happens to wander by, they'll sort of burst out, or if the prey enters into their burrow just slightly, they'll close these mandibles here, these formidable mandibles. It may be a little confusing at this angle because there are some legs around and some palps there in the very middle, but the darkest portions almost looks like it's in the middle of this shot right here. Those are the mandibles, and they're a little bit covered in mud, and so it's difficult to appreciate how jagged and notched they are. If we come over here to the side, though, you can see the 3 pairs of walking legs. And I'll move it just slightly there. One of the middle leg there is sort of raised, a little bit difficult to see. But this is a tiger beetle larva, not the adult. This is the immature, analogous, similar to a caterpillar, which then becomes the adult butterfly or moth. Beetles also go through complete metamorphosis. They change completely from a larval form, again like a caterpillar, into the adult beetle. People often see a small ladybug and they think that's a young ladybug or a baby ladybug. But whenever you see a beetle with those hardened winged covers called elytra, that's the adult beetle, and there is some other form, an earlier stage like this, that that animal looked like prior to the adult shape. Another interesting thing about this is this little structure right here. And before I tell you about that, I should tell you that this is a tiger beetle larva. Their genus is Omus. And we have two species here in my area of Portland, Omus dejeani, or dejeani, if you will, and Omus audouini. And both of them, the adult beetles, are called night-stalking tiger beetles. They aren't diurnal, they don't fly during the day. They are nocturnal, and so you will see them out in spring months, generally after the coldest months have passed and before the dry heat of summer begins. Usually April, I think, is about their peak around here. See the adults out looking for mates, hunting, laying eggs in the case of the females, probably a little later in the year. But this is Omus, and one of the interesting things about them, in addition to those burrows that are not too difficult to find, is their hump-shaped bodies. And you will note this section right here. If you look carefully, there are two spines on it. See if I can zoom in on those just a little bit without losing focus. Two spines, and what those do, again, if you imagine this animal at night in its burrow, hunting things that pass by, pulling them into the burrow, feeding on them, well, nature is full of predators too. And what happens is that hump there with those two spines, it acts as an anchoring mechanism to prevent predators from easily pulling the tiger beetle out. It also, if their prey is large, helps them to keep a foothold, to keep even the prey from dragging the animal out of its burrow, and allows them a greater sense of control, I guess, as they go about their feeding and protective behaviors. Come back up here to the head just a little bit, and hopefully you can see the eyes on either side at the widest portion there. And I hadn't noticed this before, and I've never read about these, but it appears that there are two sets of eyes. I think I see at least 4 eyes on this specimen, and I may have to read about that a little bit because I'm very curious about it now. I'm going to move it ever so slightly to see if sometimes when you move something just a little bit, it gives you a different perspective on it, or the eyes reflect the light in a slightly different way, allowing you to see something that you didn't before. Now there are some water beetles that have eyes. If the beetle is on the surface of the water, they can see both above them into the sky and below them underwater. It's very interesting to me to see what appears to be 2 sets of eyes on this beetle. You guys ready to see a feeding demonstration? Let's do that. And that fly decided that it had found something to hold on to there. Perhaps not the best choice in things to hold on to. I'll just wait patiently here for a moment to see what happens. Now the tiger beetle, of course, is not in an ideal setting for feeding. Not quite a fish out of water, because fish out of water will definitely start to exhibit signs of stress. This tiger beetle larva, though, doesn't have the same kind of nervous system that fish do. And so just watch here for a few moments and see if its predator response kicks in here. This fly is cleaning itself up. Shaking the dust off. Still just watching. You know, there's no way to know for sure whether the tiger beetle is hungry or not. Seems to be trying to shimmy away a little bit. Here's a close-up of the head of this tiger beetle larva. Got a really nice set of mandibles on it. You can see it there, exercising them on this fly. This fly is not going to last very long. It appears that this pronotum area here behind the head is covered in sand. Likely serves to camouflage the head capsule here. Bristly, bristly, bristly. And then those anchor bristles right there. Great close-ups. I feel like I'm seeing them for the first time too. Let's go in even a little bit more here. Today, I've got a Pacific Northwest tiger beetle to show you. It's called a night-stalking tiger beetle, Omus dejeani. And they're a little bit hard to get a handle on. You see the pitted elytra there. This is our largest tiger beetle in the Pacific Northwest. And to get a good look at its mandibles, I'm going to pick it up very gently. He will not be so gentle back to me, though. You can see that my skin is discoloring there a little bit as he gives me a pinch. Doesn't really hurt. If it were in a more delicate part of my body, perhaps between the fingers, it might hurt a bit more. He could clamp down with more of the spines there in his mandibles. But backing off that hole here, what I also want to show you is this moss over here. Pretty cool looking moss. Now, I don't know a lot about moss. I don't know if this is club moss or not, but I wanted to give a little shout out to Russ over at the Aquarimax channel here on YouTube. Oh, I see a bumblebee. Sorry, Russ. You got cut off for a bumblebee. Where did it go? Yeah, it's springtime. It's flown off to do bumblebee things. But in Russ's video yesterday, he did a Q&A video and an unboxing. Check that out. I got tipped off by Heather Jensen, who told me that both she and I were featured in his unboxing video yesterday. I had sent him a couple stickers, and he kindly represented those to his subscriber base and then unboxed some really interesting looking plants by Heather Jensen. She shipped those to him and had coincidentally emailed me on the same day. I don't think that either one of us were really expecting Russ to be featuring us, so that was pretty cool. So I just wanted to say thank you, Russ, for featuring me and mentioning me on your channel as much as you do. Really appreciate it. Russ and I, some of you may have heard or read in the comments, are going to be hanging out in southern Utah, sort of collaborating probably on some videos, out looking for bugs, and Russ knows a lot about aquatic things, various kinds of aquatic animals, and also reptiles and amphibians. And it's always nice to spend time with people who specialize in areas outside of bugs, at least for me. I do like hanging out with the bug people, of course, but I was just talking to Jessica, who works for me here at Bugs in Cyberspace earlier today, and also who runs the Portland Insectarium, about how much more, if I were just going out for a day hike here in the Portland area, for example, I would rather spend the afternoon with someone who knew about plants and could help me learn to identify all of these plants around. Now, I know this is a western red cedar, and over here we have sword ferns. And when there's leaves on the tree, I can often identify things. I think this might be salmonberry, but until the berries come on, I don't really recognize the plant. And this one here, at times I have known what they are, maybe some kind of huckleberry or something. See a lot of damage here on this plant by some kind of pest. Could be what's called leaf miners. There, they feed in between the tissues, the two surfaces of the leaves. And there's some more examples of it back there, or more likely, that's bird poop. Let's walk up the path here a little bit more. A few moments ago, I discovered another feature about this phone that I thought was pretty cool. Basically, if I fix on one spot, you can see my shadow there as an example, I can move the camera left and right and just hold that position. And then there's another button that I press to recenter the phone, so it's not fixed on that one position anymore, and just sort of gracefully glides as we walk along. Now I'm going to do another test here, and it's going to make me out of breath because I'm going to run. We're really going to put this gimbal to the test to see how much vibration control it can take. Now it has a sports setting too, but I don't know how to access that yet. But this is just a test, and of course we may all benefit by it in future videos. Let's see how it goes. A little bit more trouble turning the corner, perhaps. But in the sports mode, it might respond more quickly. I think the technology probably allows us, when we're walking, to sort of just glide into the next scene in a nice, stable way. All right, so that's about all the running I'm gonna do today. I'm throwing all these clips together for you guys, and I don't know if most of you are going to be interested in all that, but I think it'll be interesting to compare what it looks like with the gimbal versus not with the gimbal. And then some of you may also be YouTubers making your own videos. And tell you what, this just occurred to me right now. I hadn't really decided what I was gonna do this week's contest about, but how about we give you all an opportunity as one of the questions, and again, read the caption down below for the full information, but give everybody a chance to mention a little bit about themselves if they want to, sort of optional, mention their own YouTube channels and what their channels are about. Give back to you guys a little bit in that way. Give you an opportunity to get a little bit of exposure, and partly because I appreciate all of you watching my videos. Very, very pretty, this Pacific Northwest that I live in. Sun is starting to slip down to the horizon, but we're in a little sunny patch now. I'm going to see if I can locate some bugs for you guys, with you guys. People sometimes ask about how to find bugs. See the shadow of the gimbal there. And these sunny patches definitely open up opportunities, not just because the bugs like to fly into them to warm themselves, but generally because it's just easier to see them. And that there, I can't get close enough to it. My arm is extended, but it could be a flesh fly. I'll check it out again a little later. Flesh flies tend to have a sort of salt and pepper coloration on their abdomens, gray and black, and they're in the fly family Sarcophagidae, and anything phagid means it eats something, and sarco, I guess, means the dead, and so they will often look for or sense or detect decaying animal bodies from some distance and make their way there to feed on it, to lay their eggs on it. And we all know what fly eggs hatch into. It's not a word too many people love, but if you are a mantis keeper, you may work with maggots from time to time, because after not too long they pupate and then adult flies emerge. See another fly there, so my shadow, of course, is going to disturb it there. Watch to see if it lands again. It did not. A lot of little things flying here in the sunbeams, streaming there through the edge of the woods. Zoom in here a little bit. Maybe we can catch a few of them zipping by. The tinkle, the creek below. The air is very crisp and refreshing today. Definitely a chill in the air. We've got a cold front moving in here to the Portland area this weekend. Might see a few flakes of snow after a very mild late winter to early spring. Unseasonably sunny and warm here lately. Not complaining, although if you're in California, you can relate to this, or Washington, or some of the other western states. The absence of rain the past month or so here is probably going to contribute to a very bad fire season as summer and fall come in. See what happens. They talk about forest management and preparing for it by thinning out the trees. And of course, anybody who's watched the news, we know that a certain president had recommended that we get out with our rakes maybe and clear out some of the brush in the understory. I came to the park rakeless today. What can I say? And so we've just sort of circled back around to this same point. But a couple things we missed. I actually did see this soggy tennis ball in the creek, not to be confused with this bit of moss, which looks very much like it. You know, if you're going to see trash in the creek, a soggy tennis ball isn't the most offending of subjects. But what I'm noticing here now that I didn't see the first time are these interesting clumps of fungus here on this log, and I'm still sort of testing out my gimbal here as we go along. Nature. Tree falls, and nature will not waste it. All the bugs, all the fungus, everything working in tandem to reuse and recycle every bit of organic matter in a constant cycle, life and death. Pretty awesome. And now the only part of the park that I don't really like, the place where the people are. Oh, and dogs. Dogs. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to tie up this last bit of business here. And that is to conclude the contest from last Friday. This video is going up on a Friday. We're concluding the contest from last Friday. And I've just popped in the number of unique commenters on that prior video. And 32 people had commented, and in this video from March 6th, it shows what the prizes were and what the questions were that each contestant had to answer. And we'll go now and figure out who the first prize winner was, and that was for the Orchid Mantis sticker by Shapes in Nature. That's this Orchid Mantis sticker right here. And the winner for that is Kelly Mataika. You know, I had noticed Kelly when I was answering one of the questions, and I think it was right before yours. Someone had asked me a question about Motyxia, M-O-T-Y-X-I-A, and then your name, M-O-T-Y-K-A, had popped up right after that. Well, Kelly, aside all of that, I have some bad news for you. You didn't actually answer the two questions that would have made you eligible to win this sticker. You commented on the video, which was very nice of you. I always appreciate comments. But the contest did specifically say that you had, it says here, to be eligible, you have to do these things. And so we are going to pick another winner for the sticker. And that person said, it looks like they answered all the questions. They were supposed to mention what kind of video they would like me to make. And then of the last 10 videos, what did you enjoy the most? And they said that they'd like to see a video of the best and safest way to capture and handle scorpions. And then I really enjoyed watching this video because I really enjoyed it being in the wilderness and I love the background. And they went on to answer the third optional question. Mule Lover, you are the winner for the Orchid Mantis sticker. Please contact me through Instagram DM or through email on my website of the same name as my YouTube channel. Thank you very much for participating there. And then the next prize is a copy of Invertebrates magazine. And I usually have a couple different copies of that around. This one here has some Thai rainbow millipedes on the cover of it, and we will see now who won that. Here we go. Winner for the magazine is... They had suggested a general mantis video, and then they said that their favorite videos are the Q&A ones, and they like to watch it while they're doing stressful statistics homework. And I Quitted is the winner of that, and I believe I Quitted has won a few contests. As I said before, only 32 people had left comments in the last video contest, and so and not all of them were actually eligible or commenting to participate. So congratulations to the two winners, and good luck to everybody else here in the next contest. Don't forget to read the caption below, follow the very simple instructions to be eligible for the new contest, which again, I do a contest almost every Friday. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Hey, if you like me, give me one of those thumbs up, and please subscribe and hit the little bell so you know when I post next. Please share me with your friends on social media. Thank you for watching.